add a bit of credibility to the show. We always need a bit of credibility. We got rid of Andre, only kidding Andre, and we have expertise. We have music editor from the West Australian, Simon Collins. Thanks for being on the show, Simon.
No problem at all, Gavin.
It's been a while. We've had you on a couple of times.
Yeah, you usually drag me out for the M&M films and things like that.
Going back to M&M, we've got you for a beauty tonight, so thanks for coming on.
No problem.
And without any further ado, let's have a look at a trailer of a concert flick, arguably the greatest rock band in the world, directed by perhaps the greatest director currently in the world. Let's look at Shine a Light.
My other worry about the cameras was, Marty, that they whiz around all the time, and it's very annoying to the audience and to everyone on the stage.
It'd be good to have a camera that moves, that swoops down and in and out. Can we kind of know, if at all possible, what they're going to play? We have to make sure that we're covered. Which guitar?
All be done, Marty, an hour before the show.
I don't know what's going on.
If Mick stands in front of the light for more than 18 seconds, he's going to burn.
You mean like flames?
This is rock and roll,
This is-
okay?
Oh, yeah.
So
Don't be nervous about anything.
How much longer do you feel yourself doing this thing, going around being a sort of
I don't know. I never thought I'd be doing it for 2 years even, you know. When we started off, I never thought we'd make it very big anyway.
You got the silver, you got the gold.
Then we have another guest.
Well, I can run and jump and fish, but I won't fight. You dance so good. But don't you think they need a woman's touch to make it come alive?
And then we take the tempo is going to go up and up and up and up.
Dazzling trailer for Shine a Light. Now, there's not real plot synopsis, is there, Cos?
Makes you want to be there, doesn't it, Gav?
Not me personally, no, but tell us a bit about it.
Well, Martin Scorsese, of course, has got a long history of documenting the music industry, and in this one he takes a very small, intimate sort of theatre crowd. It's the Beacon Theatre in Manhattan, and the interesting part, of course, is the audience are obviously so wealthy and fabulous. Even Bill and Hillary are there, and he's just whizzing around with the camera, getting in up close and personal. Now, Simon, I was pretty fascinated. I was more fascinated with the footage of Martin and the dramas of the build-up, which is all in the introduction. It fizzled a little bit for me halfway through when I was kind of sick of watching. I know, I'm going to get letters about that. I'm sorry, I got bored. But when I rewatched the trailer, I just went, oh, wow, I want to see that. Oh, that's right, I have.
Well, the beginning of the film is all about the lead up to the concert, as you say, and Martin Scorsese, who's a bit of a perfectionist.
Yeah.
Trying to get a set list out of Mick is perfectionist.
Yeah.
Trying to get a set list out of Mick is basically it. And Mick Jagger's in the middle of the Bigger Bang tour, which took them right around the world for over a year, I think. And so his conversation is taking place on phones in different hotel rooms around the world.
Yeah.
But then, and it's all sort of creating this drama, and then it kind of explodes with Mick running on stage for Jumpin' Jack Flash, which, funnily enough, was also the opening song in Gimme Shelter, the other great Stones live film, or one of many live films the Stones have done.
So it's a bit misleading, the trailer, because I've seen the trailer several times. I haven't seen the film, and you've got Marty, who's a character in himself, like he has performed in movies, talking.
And you can see that drama is kind of built up a bit. You know, Martin's filmed himself going, well, when am I going to get a set list?
Yeah.
You know, they have really built up that, really is.
But from a music standpoint, We're seeing?
Fantastic. It's be the best concert to be at, I reckon. Nice and small, the Beacon Theatre in New York. Fairly sort of small theatre, much smaller than the Stones were playing. Originally reading in the notes that Jagger wanted to film it at one of the larger concerts, like perhaps the one they did at Copacabana Beach with 2 million people turned up. But Marty, in his inimitable sense, wanted to do something intimate, wanted to do it on his home turf, and wanted to sort of capture the energy of the Stones. And you see those big concerts they do, there's no energy, they're standing, metres apart, and it doesn't look like much fun for the audience or the band. And the best thing about Shine a Light is just the energy and the interaction you see between the various musicians. It's in their face. I think this is being shown on pretty big screens, IMAX over East, normal cinemas here.
Yeah.
And I think IMAX might be a little bit too big. I mean, Keith's wrinkles would look like,
I
you know,
can't
like
even
crevices.
imagine.
Well, like the Grand Canyon, pretty much.
Now, there's quite a few special guests there. I mean, I saw the trailer and watching Mick shimmy up to Christina Aguilera was a bit scary. But who else appears on
long.
there?
Well, there's Christina Aguilera, there's Jack White from the White Stripes, and there's also Buddy Guy, who is fantastic, singing Cigarettes and Reefer. Sorry, Champagne and Reefer. That's one of the great moments, the Buddy Guy moment. The Jack White moment is not so good, but there's 2 hours of music here, so I think maybe the casual music fan might find this a bit too much, but if you love the Stones or even like the Stones, then this is definitely worth seeing, and definitely like the Stones if you've never seen them before and don't have enough money to see them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you stole my thunder. I was going to say, you're not a huge Stones fan, right? So did you find it a little tiresome?
Well,
Be honest.
I did. I wanted it to keep cutting back to all the footage of the characters when they were younger. You know, you've got Mick 20 years ago talking about was he still going to be in music, in 20 years' time.
He hasn't changed a bit, has he?
That's all ironic and it's fun and it's great. And because I'm not such a Stones fan and because I'm not I didn't want to sit and listen to music for 2 hours. I know that's what other people went to this movie for, but I didn't. I wanted to see more of that stuff, and I really loved some of the footage of Keith Richards sort of doing Jack Sparrow before Jack Sparrow had been done, and I thought that was all kind of fun. So yeah, I probably did get a little bit, over there, but it was so dynamic, and I really probably hadn't realised just how good a live band they would be.
They're fantastic. Speaking of the old footage, a lot of that stuff is hilarious, but as a music journalist who does a lot of interviews, it's quite damning on my trade in that they show journalists asking Keith such things as, what's the stupidest question you've ever been asked? And Keith just waits a pause and then says, you just asked it, mate. But from a music fan, the set list is fantastic. They've been on that massive world tour. They didn't want to do the same, greatest hits set they were doing on there, so they incorporated a lot of stuff from the late 70s, from the Some Girls album, songs like Some Girls and Shattered, and they did the song that they wrote for Marianne Faithfull, As Tears Go By, fantastic version of that. They have a bit of fun with The Girl with Faraway Eyes, and it's fantastic. I mean, Mick's very serious, he's trying to ignite the crowd, he's ignoring the cameras. Charlie Watts is kind of interacting a bit with the cameras, turns to her at one stage and says, "It's very hot." So if he doesn't say very, and Keith and Ronnie, the guitarist, are just having a great laugh the whole time.
Yeah, there's a lot of camaraderie, and it's probably hard to imagine how long they've been doing that. And even on this concert tour, how many times they've done all of that same thing all over again, and yet the end. All of that same thing all over again, and yet the energy is all still there. Absolutely. I mean, it does really, that's like I said before, it's the one thing it does, it just captures the energy and the chemistry of this band, and that's, Scorsese's great achievement with this film. I mean, he had 18 cinematographers there, and they're not just camera people, they were cinematographers, all of them acclaimed cinematographers. And it was funny because Mick said, I think it's going to be really off-putting for the audience, all these cameras swooping in and out. But that's what gave the audience at the documentary such a thrill. I don't know what it was like for those people sort of sitting quite close, because they must have been quite invasive.
What, Bill Clinton? Was he right at the front?
No, Bill was up on the balcony.
Yeah. Now, scoring time, Cosney, I know you saw Hannah Montana 3D recently. Does that eclipse it? Gee, if only this had been in 3D, it could almost have been as good as Hannah Montana.
I really was kind of loving it halfway, then I kind of got bored. I think it is a full price movie for